Hello dear students, welcome back to this session on conditions to claim depreciation on any asset. So under income tax, to claim depreciation on any asset, there are certain conditions that are to be fulfilled. Only then depreciation can be claimed on those assets. Okay, so we know what is depreciation. Depreciation is decrease in the value of asset due to wear and tear, or where we segregate the value of asset to the useful life of the asset. That is called as depreciation. So to claim depreciation on any asset, there are certain conditions. So those conditions are classified as four conditions. So four major conditions to be satisfied, only then depreciation can be claimed on any asset. So first condition is to look into the nature of the asset. So first condition, when we look into the nature of the asset should be of capital in nature. That is, depreciation cannot be claimed on current asset, only on capital asset depreciation is allowed. So when we say it is capital asset, the value of the asset would be a little higher, and that asset will also be used for a number of years. So that's why we call it as capital asset. So that capital asset should be of tangible or intangible. So tangible asset are those assets which we see them physically, we can touch them and feel them, whereas intangible asset will not be able to see those assets, but that carries some value. So that is called as intangible assets. So when we look into the example of tangible asset, when we say a machine or vehicle, car or any plant, so all of this would fall into the category of tangible asset, where the asset is literally visible, where you can see that through your eyes. And intangible assets, when we look into intangible asset, so we have copyrights, trademarks, patents, all of this will fall into the category of intangible asset. So when we say intangible asset, goodwill, though it is an intangible asset, but under income tax that is not considered, and we don't claim depreciation on goodwill. So except goodwill, all other intangible assets will be considered. And moving on to the second condition. So when we move on to the second condition, we look into the ownership of the asset. So we claim depreciation on any particular asset. So before we claim depreciation, we should look into the ownership of that asset, that is, who's the owner of that asset should be considered. So the main condition is that the assessee should be the owner of the asset. Assessee is the individual who is liable to pay tax. Okay, so he should be the owner of the asset to claim depreciation. So assessee should be the owner to claim depreciation on any particular asset. So any asset which is leased or hired is not eligible for depreciation. So first condition, where we saw the asset should be of capital in nature, either tangible or intangible, and the second condition is we look into the ownership of the asset. And third condition is where we look into the usage of the asset. The asset on which we are claiming depreciation should be used in the relevant previous year, that is, the year which is immediately preceding to the assessment year. So during the previous year, the assessee should have used that asset in the relevant previous year. Okay, only then depreciation can be claimed. So usage includes active operation. So that asset is being kept ready for use. Say we have machinery and that is in working condition, and we make use of that machinery to produce any article. So all of this is considered as usage of the asset in the relevant previous year. So three conditions. First condition is where we look into the nature of the asset, either tangible or intangible asset. And second condition is that the asset should be owned by the assessee. And third condition, the asset should be used in the relevant previous year. So now we will move into the last condition. So yes, in the relevant previous year, I have used an asset. So that asset should be used only for the purpose of business or profession. So either I should use the machinery for my business, or any of the asset for my professional purpose to claim depreciation. So any asset which is used for my personal purpose is not eligible for depreciation. So these are the four conditions. Any asset which is satisfying all these four conditions are eligible for claiming depreciation. So only when all these four conditions are satisfied, you can claim depreciation on any asset. Thank you.